Keep running into extra problems with these heads. The valve guide on the bent valve is not in the best shape. That could be a pretty good problem, actually. But we're going to see if we can work it a little bit and see what actually will happen. Worst case scenario, we'll just have to go a different route. Not really out anything on these. They've been sitting around for a very long time. Well, the longer we go on these heads, the more damage we're finding. That was not in the plans at all. So now I'm in a bit of a dilemma. I have a set of aluminum heads that I can put on this 289. And I also have an Anderson N51 cam that I can put on this 289, which would most likely give me enough horsepower to get a low 13, high 12 second pass out of this car. So now I am just curious on what direction I ought to be heading. And the heads that I have, the valves are bigger and I'd have to fly cut the pistons, which is not a real big deal, but still something that would have. This car, I'm almost positive, my brother said it's a numbers matching car. When I bought it, this 289 is bone stock, has a 2-barrel carburetor on it, stack or cast intake. The exhaust, I think that this is the actual original exhaust on this car. It is tiny and it's just a single exhaust out the back. I think what I'm going to try to go with now is I have them AFR heads and I might go that direction. I got to do a little wee bit more research on that to make sure, but I am leaning real hard on doing that to this car. And I will keep you posted. I am getting some stuff apart right now and I'm going to try to get the exhaust out from under this car. Yeah, just in case you're wondering, yes, I dropped the wing nut down in the carburetor. Just got to share that with everybody because whenever you do something that dumb, you want to make sure you share it. That's important to share. I am hoping this is the start of some really cool journey here. I am going to put my AFRs on this 289 and up the cam. I'm done monkeying around with them old heads. There's just too much damage done to them for me to keep monkeying around with them, but it may be a later project at a different time. You never know how these things are going to actually end up. Or at least that's the way I see it. You keep a challenge going, and I did drop the wing nut down the carburetor, so I got to get it fished out of there. But I'll be getting all that stuff off of there. I'm going to start in teardown mode here now. This little old magnet I have had for many years, and I've had to use it for silly stuff like this many times. But it works. And we got it. That's nice. I think the neighbor guy just pulled in. You never know when I'm recording now. What kind of a puller you need?
I need one to fit in the, you know, the thingy to put.
All right, the neighbor guy stopped over, helped him out get a socket for popping bearings out of a hub for his Artie Cat. And this here is quite the turnaround from what I suggested I was doing in the beginning, but it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be exciting for me anyhow. I've been wanting to do this. I wasn't exactly sure on the direction that I was going to go with those heads and stuff, but I want to do some things to this car to really spruce it up some. Aluminum heads and intake and everything like that. Cam upgrade and get everything that I want done to it. I will have to get a converter without a doubt with the direction that I am going at this point. That will not be an actual problem. We will get that done, hopefully. And yeah, I'll give you an update when I get some more stuff to. I don't know if I can get a close enough view of this battery, but whoever was working on this car put the black on hot and the red on negative. And that is an absolute recipe for disaster right there. For anybody that has never seen it, a battery explode in somebody's face, it is extremely dangerous. And you can lose your eyesight. A lot of very bad things can happen. Whatever the reason was for this, there is no way that it was necessary. I will put it to you in that fashion. That being said, just always remember, anybody that is not familiar with vehicles at all, you should always look at your battery terminals before you ever hook a charger up to it or another person's vehicle up to give you a jump start, because you never know what someone else may have done. Very, very important to remember. Right now I'm working on taking this cross support off. I think somebody added this on. I don't think it actually came on this car originally. I think some of this stuff somebody added at one point in time. Watch the coil so it don't get carried away. I will be putting everything back on as well. I'll try to clean this engine bay up quite a bit. I plan on doing a battery relocate and cleaning up the wiring here. The more that I look at this car, there are more things on the wiring that would be an issue in a very short amount of time. So I'll try to clean all that stuff up. Those supports, I'll mount them a little bit differently. I'll drill those holes out and put nuts in there. And that'll do a better job. I'll use stainless. It seems to work real well in these, because this car will never see salt again as long as I own it. They did, however, put an MSD box on this. It has an MSD distributor in it. And there are some real good parts on this car, so it's a real good start, good foundation for where we want. I got the distributor out. I try to put paper towels in all the holes and everything like that, just so you can try to avoid as much dirt and grime. There's going to be a lot of stuff get down into the engine anyhow, but we will change the oil a couple of times after we are done with the job. We got the cap off, wires off. It had Taylor wires on it, and they are a real good set of wires. Next step is I want to take some pictures of everything just so I remember how everything was mounted for the air conditioning and stuff like that. Get the radiator out, and then I'll start tearing the rest of the top end down, get the exhaust dropped, and see how we make out here. I don't know how all you guys and gals do it, but I take a lot of pictures when I'm tearing something down. That way there I have a good reference point for like throttle linkage and stuff like that, and the kickdown cable in this case, the brackets for the air conditioning, and it just, for me, it helps a lot. I just use it for a reference to get the video. Some of the wiring that was done on this car, they kind of stripped some wires. I would have no idea what the reason for it would have been, but they left them bare and they are corroded real bad. I will have to address that going back together. Some of that I'll do while I have everything off here, because there's just more room for me to work in there. And it's surprising sometimes what you get into working after somebody else was working on things. It can be a little bit challenging to figure out what they were thinking at the time. When the used car dealer tells you something like it's okay and this works and that works, there may be a chance that he doesn't really know that. I wouldn't want to say he was lying to you, but there might be a chance he just doesn't know that. We took the air conditioning lines off and not a drop of Freon in them, which I suspected something like that. I'm going to get the pump off. We've got quite a bit tore off, the radiators out. I'm going to get the top end done. I'm trying to get the exhaust off without getting under the car, which is a bit of a challenge. And we will see if we can have good luck with it. I already broke one of my ratchets, and that always presents its own challenge, but I love a challenge. That's all part of the game. Oh, the neighbor was here and brought tools back. That is so nice when they actually bring them back. I have to get him to talk to my son about that. My son has issues with bringing them back. I still try to get this exhaust. Tearing down a 289 on Saturday. I don't think it can get any better than that. I mean, maybe if the bolts would come out a little easier, that would make it a little bit more fun. But, you know, you gotta deal with what you gotta deal with. I never know whether I'm recording or not recording. So that's pretty impressive in its own right. But there's a lot of brackets on here. An awful lot of brackets. I recorded stuff that I don't even know what I was recording. But, alright, be back. Anybody see what I did with the 1/2 inch deep well socket? It's among the missing right now. Okay, you can quit looking, I found it. I don't know who all was looking other than me, but it was puzzling there for a minute. Very puzzling. We have got plenty of bracketry. Plenty of brackets. Figuring that mess back out, going back together, ought to be very interesting to figure out, to say the very least. Alright, one step closer. We finally got the air conditioner pump off, and got to get the alternator off, that belt off, the pulleys and stuff, water pump, a few other little odds and ends. I got to get this exhaust off on this side, that one is off over there, and then we will start tearing the intake off and the heads, and I would like to have that much done before the end of this day. Would be small update. Got both exhausts off of here. I think that is the original Y pipe for this car. That is so amazing to me. Most of the bolts was loose in the manifold, the exhaust manifold. I was impressed with that a little bit. Looks like somebody did put a new exhaust gasket on it. Not that long ago, really. It's hard to tell what's actually been done to the engine now. I did not, but I see blue goo and Permatex. I see different stuff on here that I did not know was here. It looks like the intake was off, definitely, because it's got Permatex on it. They use cork gaskets on the timing cover. That is just not a good idea. And I was wrong on the timing. This did have a timing mark on it. And I was unaware of that. I did not think it did. And not a good one. But nevertheless, there was a timing mark on it. We will update you whenever I get the top end of the rest of the way tore down. A small update. All of the intake bolts on this vehicle are loose. And I like finger tight. That's what they are. I haven't touched these ones at all. And that's all the tighter that they are. I mean, I don't know how it was even not sucking air. Well, that one's completely loose. but it's quite amazing for as good as what it ran. That is very, very amazing. Small update. The wife's home, ready to pull the intake off. So we are making good progress on the 289 teardown. All these bolts was loose. It is very, very hard to believe that it wasn't leaking, and someone was at one point in time in this without a doubt. There's a lot of Permatex on it, so, but we're making good headway, and we're finding more and more out about the car as we go, and that's always a good thing, no matter how you look at it. Sometimes these tiny little hoses right here can be a real bugger to get off, to get these intakes off, and it is fast. There's so much rust in this engine, it's actually hard to believe how much rust is actually in here for the car coming from Florida. But I had heard that the sand down there can be a little bit brutal. I don't know too much about it. Pennsylvania, it's the salt. Maybe bad antifreeze, but there's a lot of rust in all the water jackets in this car. It's crazy. It's hard to even imagine how much rust is in there, and it looks like somebody at one time or another put some bars leak in, some kind of stop. All right, everybody, an update. I'm calling it a day for now. Got grandchildren here. The little woman wants to go for a little buggy ride out in the mountains, so we'll take care of that. Got to take care of family matters. I don't know how much of what I did will come up in this video. The biggest challenge so far in my life is figuring out these videos. That has been more than a challenge for me. Looks like it's so much easier for everybody else. Maybe it just looks that way, I'm not sure. But the 289, we'll get the heads off of it probably tomorrow, clean up the deck, get the front of it, rest of the front tore apart, and pull the cam out of it, and mostly that'll be cleaning right after that, getting everything clean, spick and span. I do want to put a newer style water pump. This is an old cast water pump, it looks like. And I will try to update some of that. I'm thinking about a different belt system at this time, because the belts and all those brackets is really not necessary, and you can never see the timing marks with all of that stuff on there. Just way too difficult. For me, anyhow. I need things where I can get at and see them real, real well. But thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I will keep you updated on where I'm at. Hopefully I can get a video out as quickly as what I can and give you an update. I'm enjoying this 1968 Mustang 289 build. I am getting very excited now to get it to where we make fire with it, maybe in a week or so. That would be nice. Until the next time, have a lovely evening or morning, whichever one it is.